Hey, it's Zane here and welcome back. Hope you're having an awesome weekend. Before we get started, please remember to give the video a like. It's a free and easy way to support the channel and to help get the content out there into YouTube land. Now, in today's video, I thought I would have a discussion around some of the mindset aspects of being a Bitcoiner and why this is so important, and why we need to stay focused and to continue our learning journey, and why it's not enough just to get ourselves acquiring Bitcoin and then kind of forgetting about it. And I think a lot of people, and in fact I know very smart people, have gotten involved in Bitcoin for the number go up technology, and they've done well over a cycle, and they've sold their Bitcoin and they're no longer in Bitcoin. And I believe that people who are in that boat they're going to live to regret making that decision, particularly smart people who are going to realize that selling the world's best performing asset, not to mention all of the decentralized self-sovereignty benefits that Bitcoin represents that really aren't spoken about enough, when they realize that they've given all of that away, I think they're going to really realize that they made a mistake. And so, Bitcoin right now, I believe, is an asset that we just have to acquire. We have to keep stacking, and we have to chill out, and we just have to look long term. We cannot be caught up in these day-to-day and week-to-week market movements. There's a lot of uncertainty out there right now. I believe that we're in the midst of an age of economic chaos. We know that money is terminally ill. We know that the system is broken. We know that, as Raoul Pal states, who's one of the greatest sort of macro reporting guys on the state of the world economy, I believe, out there. He says that the system broke in 2008 with the GFC, and it's really been on life support ever since. And so when we are involved in Bitcoin, we do it because we're looking for a life raft. And, I think it's really important that we just remain focused on why we're here. And I was recently listening to a video with Michael Saylor on an interview. I can't remember which podcast he was on, but he was talking about the 10 Bitcoin commandments that he's essentially come up with. And, the first one is focus your energy. Number 2 is to guard your time. And number 3 is to train your mind. So focus your energy, guard your time, and train your mind. And, I think that Bitcoiners who have that approach, who adopt that mindset, who aren't just focused on the numbers, they're the ones that are going to not just benefit most financially from Bitcoin, but they're the ones that are going to have the greatest impact as we move forward on this journey. And I say that because you and I know that there are a lot of very, very smart thought leaders and disruptors in Bitcoin. And, if you're on YouTube, as you are, you'll know that there's, umpteen different channels, podcasts, countless influencers out there who are all talking about Bitcoin and what it represents. But for the most part, it's all focused on the number side of Bitcoin. And, could you retire on Bitcoin? How much is enough? What is it going to take to become financially free? When is Bitcoin going to reach $1 million? When is it going to 10x, 100x from here? Is it going to replace the current financial system and become the world's new reserve currency? And so there's all these conversations that are going on, and sometimes it's easy, and I find myself doing it at times, to kind of end up on these tangents, and it's very easy to just forget first principles as to why we're actually here. And so, For me, it's all about mindset. We have to understand that Bitcoin is a life raft. It is something that is an escape from the debt-based financial system that we know is sinking. It requires us to continue building our conviction, and this is why I spend a lot of time listening to people like Jeff Booth, because I think he sums it up perfectly when he really explains how Bitcoin is the world's first true global free market, and we've never actually experienced a true global free market. And for me, that's a really fascinating point to focus on, because everybody's out there hustling their ass off to keep things afloat, to keep their business afloat, to extract more from the economy, from their marketplace. And in a way, it's a zero-sum game, because the more that people extract, the more that we begin to see that society has different fractures that are starting to appear, and the more we begin to see things like the cost of living crisis, the growing wealth gap, housing crisis, homelessness, young people basically giving up hope of ever being able to own their own home. All of these are a function of a broken system. And yet, when you listen to the politicians and the media personalities trying to talk about different solutions, there's not much they can come up with other than to, cut taxes, or to reduce interest rates, or to reduce immigration. But nobody's talking about the real problem, and that is the problem of broken money. And so when we understand that, we have to understand that this system is so embedded, it can't change, it won't change, nothing that they do really matters. It forces us to start spending the bulk of our time on the other system. And the more I listen to Bitcoiners who really, really get what Bitcoin represents, really articulate how it's so important to give your energy to a system that respects your energy, that is a true free market where everybody wins, and this is what Bitcoin is. The more you can do that, the more you are leading by example, I guess is probably the best way of putting it. And it takes time to get to that point, and for me it's probably taken 5 years to realize that I need to be spending my time in a system that I believe in, that is outside the broken system, because the more that we all feed the broken system, the more that the broken system is allowed to proliferate. And again, this is a lot of the insight and the perspective that you start getting when you listen to the likes of Jeff Booth, Larry Lawrence Lepard, his book The Big Print, which recently came out, and all of the different interviews that Larry's been doing recently. These guys are tremendous thought leaders, and they help you to think really deeply about why you're here, and to stay on course. And so focusing your energy is so important. The more you can focus on what Bitcoin represents, how it can make your life better, and how it can actually make the world better, and to keep furthering your knowledge, the less likelihood is that you're going to make a mistake that you'll live to regret. And we all know that the greatest mistake that we can make right now is to part ways with our Bitcoin, because we're caught up in all of this chaos and we're not spending enough time where we should be spending our time, and that is on the solution, which is Bitcoin. We need to guard our time. Our time is our most precious resource. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are. We all have a limited amount of time on this planet, and we need to be really conscious of where we're dedicating our efforts in terms of that time. And the more we begin to realize that Bitcoin is a system that actually rewards us, because it actually has a monetary technology, a deflationary system that enables us to preserve our time and energy. Because if money is represented by time and energy, and we're over here in this fiat system continually expending time and energy for this currency that can be inflated and corrupted and printed into oblivion, then we're not honoring and respecting our time and energy. And so when we move over to Bitcoin and we shift our focus over to there, it just has a complete paradigm shift in the way that you begin to think and view the world and dedicate your time. And also your time horizon starts to shift as well, because we know that everybody is out there right now sacrificing the future for the present. It's not like it was 30 or 40 years ago where people they had the time and the breathing space to, smell the roses, to save a little, to plan for the future, to save a deposit for a home, to think about an investment strategy. There's just no time anymore to do that because everything is moving so fast and is so chaotic. And as we start moving more over to Bitcoin, we start being able to reclaim that breathing space, to be able to reclaim that time and energy once again. That's what I'm noticing. And so this is something that only comes to you over a period of time. And I know it's not as sexy as talking about when Bitcoin's going to be $1 million, going to 10x, 100x, 1000x. And so if you're still here watching today's video, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. But I know it could sound a little bit woo-woo or a little bit spiritual, but I really believe that Bitcoin is a spiritual journey. It forces you to think very deeply and to ponder and to reflect and to really think about the problems of the world and how Bitcoin can and will be a solution. And for me, this is the game, because it helps me to stay on track and to see a brighter future and to continue to stay the course and to spend my time learning and growing and stacking and doing everything that I know is going to get me there, and that involves some sacrifice. But the good news is that when you sacrifice the present for the future, and you're doing it in a value system that preserves your time and your energy, you know in your heart that life can only get better. So I don't want to go on too much today, but I just kind of wanted to plant that thought with you. Let me know what you think. Do you see Bitcoin as a mindset shift, something you've got to continue to work on, or is it something that you have that much conviction you just are able to just sort of bed down and get through day-to-day life and not worry too much about it? You're just here for the long term no matter what. For me, it's just an ongoing journey of discovery and learning and growing and continuing to further my knowledge. So I'd love to know what you think about that. But it's really important now that we really start to notice the incentive structures of society and how they're starting to break down, how everybody is sacrificing the future for the present now, particularly the younger generation, which I think is really sad, because every young person coming through should have the opportunity to plan for the future and to see a brighter future. And unfortunately, I know that a lot of people don't see that right now because of how chaotic things are, how this debt-based system has really taken over. And I'm so grateful that we have Bitcoin as a solution where we can start refocusing, recalibrating, and spending our time and energy. So I'm going to leave it there today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this. Please remember to give the video a like if you haven't already. Please subscribe if you'd like to hear more from me and you haven't already. This community is growing, and I really appreciate everybody's support. I appreciate the comments everybody's leaving. I know some of you have been in Bitcoin for quite some time and are really, really knowledgeable. So please keep sharing your wisdom, and I know that everybody appreciates it. So again, thank you for tuning in. Remember, Bitcoin is a mindset, and that's truly how you're going to get the most out of it for the long haul, which is really what we're here for. Plus, we want to see the world a better place. So with all that said, I hope you have a great Sunday. Well, it's Sunday here in Australia, Sunday morning. I'm going to get on with my day. Enjoy wherever you are, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. This is Zane signing out. Have a good one. Bye for now.